Good afternoon and welcome. My name is Michele and I'm an independent demonstrator with Stamping Up here in New South Wales in Australia. Please jump on and say hello. Now, if you can give StreamYard's permission to put your name up there, you can, just so that I know who I'm speaking to. Leave comments. If it's the first time you've been on here, please let me know who you are and where you're from. It's always great to say hello to new people. So let's get started. We're going to have a bit of a play today. I'm not even quite sure whether we're going to get a card out of this. And I'm going to turn my camera down and show you what I'm talking about. It's something that I saw that Stamping Up posted on Facebook the other day, and it's something that I've watched other companies and so forth play with this idea, and I just thought, wow, that could be a bit of fun. So I've been having a bit of a play this morning, and I just wanted to share with you what I've been doing. So let me just turn my camera down. And as I said, please jump on and say hello. It's always great to talk to new people. So I don't know whether you can see this. This is on my phone. This is what Stamping Up posted the other day. And let's see if I can make this bigger. Not all the time I can. There we go. So what it is, it's circles. And they've done those circles with the Stamp and Write markers and then coloured them in. Hi, Deborah. How are you? Great to have you on today. So this is something it's always interested me because I love playing with shapes and I love playing with colour. Now, I have been having a bit of a play. I am very limited in what colours I can use, just in the fact that I don't have all the Stamp and Write markers. Mind you, don't tell my husband, but I've just gone and ordered them, or ordered some of them. I've got quite a few of the old ones. Now, to show you what I mean between the new ones and the Stamp and Write markers. Now, these are different to our Stamp and Blends. These are the similar sort of, or the same ink that's in our stamp pads. It's a water-based ink. Hi, Lorraine. How are you? It's great to have you here. How's Canada today? Okay, so these are the Stamp and Write markers. This one here, Stamp and Write markers come with a broad tip or a brush tip, and it comes with a fine tip. Now, this is the old one, and it's got the fine tip is 0.5 of a mil. Now, I don't know whether you can actually, we just flip that over. You can see that, but that is quite a fine tip. It's more of a writing tip. You won't tell my husband? Oh, good. One of those things, you order something and you sneak it into the house. Hot and smoky. Still got lots of fire over there in Canada. That's no good. Hi, Glenda. How are you? But that's the old Stamp and Write marker. Now, if I can just bring up the new one here, you can see if I put these two tips together, it might be creating too much of a shadow. Let me just turn my light on. Might even help. This one here, which is the new one, is a lot thicker. It's more of it's still a nice writing nib. I think that's right on the back of this is okay. And then this one here is quite fine. You can see the difference. Let me bring that up to the camera. You can see the difference there in the thickness. So these ones here I found don't work with this technique as well. You do need the broad one. Of course, you could try to do it with the brush tip. I'll just see if I can get that without as many shadows. I'm sorry about that. It is so windy here at the moment. I've been sitting here listening to my garbage bins out the front rolling around, and I've already had to go out there and rescue them from going up the street already. So you've also got the brush tip, and you could use that if you were very careful. But at the moment, I've probably only got these three colours, besides a few other more murky colours, and these are nice and bright and work quite well. So what I've got here is Berry Burst, Lemon Lime Twist, and afternoon, azure, or azure afternoon. So they're the colours I'm going to try to play with. Hi, Kim. It's windy up there as well, is it? On the Central Coast. Oh, it's disgusting here. And it's so cold outside. I'm actually a little bit cool at the moment, but I didn't have a chance to go and get a jumper and put it on, and I was being a bit lazy because I was playing. So I just want to show you what I've been playing with. Now, I found that watercolour paper is the best thing to do this on. I tried on regular white cardstock, and it just doesn't work. I don't even know where my pieces are. I think I've put them in the bin. They were so disgusting. But this is what I've been playing with this morning. I have been playing with a lot more than that. As you can see, I've been having lots of fun here. Just sort of playing, working out the amounts of water. These ones here, so it's on watercolour paper. So these big pieces here are just a cheap brand of watercolour paper that I've just got. I just practice on. It's always good having some practice pieces that you can work on that doesn't, hasn't cost you a huge amount to purchase. But I will be working on the Stampin' Up! Fluid 100 watercolour paper, just so you're aware. So with these ones here, to play around, this is probably the first one I did. Trying out different thicknesses in the nibs, different colors to see what it comes up with, because that one I showed you on the phone, they used it is always cold here, Kim. We're in August, and it's always, I keep reminding myself, we still can get snow. Get snow. It has been known to snow even into August here. But anyway, getting back to this, these are just sort of my initial play around. With this one here, these two here, these are with the watercolor pencils. So you'll notice that with this one here, that's with the Stampin' Right markers. The line actually stays there quite clearly. But with the watercolor pencil, you do actually lose your circle. The pencil just sort of, I suppose, melts away in some respects into the water. I played with using just one color at a time to putting two colors in one circle. I quite enjoy that color there, which is the azure afternoon, azure, or azure afternoon. I can never remember which one goes first, azure afternoon and the berry burst. This one here, I just played with the blue on blue. Again, with this one here, trying different colors. This one here, I actually drew all the circles on first and then watercolored them, whereas this one here, I drew one circle, watercolored it, then drew the next circle. So I don't think it really matters which one you do or the look that you want to get. These are all done with the finer, they're not aqua painters, they're water painters. You could use the broad tip if you wanted to use a broad tip, because we've got 3 tips in these. Just let me see if I can find the third one. I think that's a fine one as well, because it's sort of, there's one that's in between, so that's the 3 there. So you've got 3 different tips. You've got a broad tip, a fine tip, and then a medium tip in the middle. So it's really up to you which one you want to use. I probably found these ones a lot easier to handle than this one to do this. I find these very hard getting the water out. So even though I've got water in there, I have got a little container of water just here as well, which I'll be dipping my pens into. The other thing that I've done to do this is I've got a piece of window sheet. And what I've done here is on this window sheet, I've just cut out some circle dies. I think in the one on Stampin' Up, they recommended that you use, now I can't remember what it's called. It's the suite where you've got the astronaut, because you've got all the circles to cut out the different size moons and so forth. So they used that, whereas I just had some old dies here in the circles, so I just cut my circle dies out there, and I've just cut it in a piece of window sheet because I'll pop that with my other masks, and I can use that then for anything else I want to do. It's great if you've got even a smaller one. The new circles, the new beveled circles, have got a really small one, but you've got then a beveled edge. And I don't think going around that beveled edge would be great for the nib of your pen. So it's probably something I would stay away from. So I just want to show you before we started working on how I did this. I'm going to turn that over and work on the wrong side of that. So all I've done is I've taken my template and my Stamp and Write marker, and I've just gone around this now. I'm going around it twice just to lay plenty of colour. I've got some paper towel here. As I said, I'm not quite sure yet whether we'll get this into a finished card or not, but at least it gives something to play with and you can have a go. And as you can see, when you run your water around that edge, it blurs, it spreads that ink out and blurs that ink. So because it is a watercolor, water-based ink. So depending on how much you could take that right in, if you wanted to take it right in and cover a lot in, take it almost to a dry in the middle. So you've got that lovely sort of balloon or water bubble type effect. You can then come in if you wanted to with a different color. And my templates are here. And add another circle. And again, just work around. Now, when you got the berry burst and that afternoon azure afternoon, you blend those two together and you will get a purpley color. Now you could leave it just as a line like that, or you can, as I said before, you can just blend it off a little bit. Now, I probably wouldn't go any more than 2 or 3 colors in doing this. That's why, well, besides the fact that I've only got 3 colors that I can actually use. If you have too many colors, it could end up a bit murky. Now, if you find you're doing, because the color is going to stay on this plastic bit a little bit, just grab some scratch paper and clean your nib off, and it will come back to proper color again. And you can see there it is worthwhile just to give your templates a bit of a clean, because your color will stain your paper. But something like this is quite okay. You could then put, if you wanted to, put some splatters over the top, which could look quite effective. So that's basically what we're going to do. Now, you could actually do some, and I'm just going to show you here very quickly before we get started on our actual piece. You can do a circle which is half to 2/3. I'd probably go 2/3 more so than half. So I've gone around and I've just left a little bit there. I'm coming in now with the afternoon azure and just going around. Now, don't blend it into a little bit of each other. Don't just sort of stop where one starts. And then again, if you go around that, and blend that in, you will get a purpley sort of color in that. So it's up to you how much water you want to add, how much you want to fill that out. But we're just going to get some soft bubbles like that. Hi, Deb. How are you? So that's basically what I'm going to do and what I'm going to be trying to do. So that's giving you a bit of an idea of the technique that I'm using, how well this is going to turn out, and how carried away I get, because I can get very carried away with this sort of thing, is another thing. So what I've got here, I've cut down a piece of our Fluid 100 watercolor paper. I've basically cut it into 2 pieces. I've worked this out. I've got my measurements written on a scrap of paper here. So I've cut it down to 12.7 by 8.3. And that's just then when I put this onto a card front, it's proportioned all the way around. So I'm going to grab my template. We're going to give that a bit of a clean, just so then we start off with a clean base. I've just got a bit of craft plastic underneath, just so then protects my work surface. And I'm just going to bring my water just in there like that. Hi, Joan. Okay, so I'm going to start off with by doing the largest circle, and I'm not going to put it right in the middle. Now, don't be afraid to go off your page when you're drawing these circles. And of course you can do a solid color, but I'm going to start with a solid blue, and I'm going to do one color at a time just for this one. Now I think what I'm going to do is actually maybe do them all blue, and then come in and maybe just do a few small ones over the top in the other colors. And I'm just going to blend that out and just soften all those edges. Okay, so now I'm going to come in with another circle. And just repeat that again. Always good to have a bit of paper towel handy, just to brush off some excess color off your brush. Now, by the time you get back to do some overlaps on this too, your other ones will be a lot drier as well. Now, I've got a little bit of a smudge on there, and that's because I probably should have given this a little bit of a wipe down in between. That's okay. Now, this can be done with the other shapes. It's really up to you. I think it could look quite good with the balloons. It's cold and wet in Melbourne today. It started raining here last night. My husband was actually quite surprised that it rained. Don't know why, but anyway. As I said, don't be afraid to go off your page. Yeah, so it rained most of the night, and it was just a bit wet and rainy this morning, but now it's just windy and cold. I'm just going to soften these edges here just a little bit because my paper sort of dragged across it and spread that ink. Because the beauty of doing it with watercolour is you can come back and reactivate that ink. I'm just going to do, I think, one more circle on here. And I'm just going to do that here, and then we're going to change the colour. Now, I'm being quite precise with this because I was sort of like, I'm the sort of person that I could get carried away and end up with something that I wasn't planning, which can be good and can be like, oh, it just needs to go in the bin. I just want to soften that line a bit there. Okay. Must have had a little bit of berry burst there on my hand because I've got a little bit of pink in that, but that's okay because we're going to put some pink down now. So I've got my berry burst here. Grab my template again and just give that a bit of a clean. Now, of course, you could have just made a paper template if you wanted to, but I just sort of thought, well, no, this could come in handy for other things. Okay, so I'm going to come in now with and draw some more circles. Back in with my template again, and I'm going to put another one, a big one down here. And I've gone sort of a double line there, but I'm not going to worry about it too much. I'm just going to move those splatters a little bit. Now this berry burst is actually quite strong. Just want to soften those edges there. Let those colours sort of blend in a little bit and try to get a little bit of a, maybe even a slight purpley hue to my work. Just give that a little bit of a wipe. Yeah, it's just a piece of window sheet. I mean, just makes it easier, I think. Now, I'm trying to work out, let's put one down here. And of course, if you haven't, you could get circles that you can just trace around as well. So, I was playing before and tracing around around the nibs of the pens. I've got a couple of shot glasses here that I was tracing around to get my circles. So, even the bottom of your embossing powder pot, anything like that, a lid of something just to draw around. Whoops, and let's have a look. We've got a little bit of pink there in that one. Let's just get rid of that. So you could take this, and I've got the lemon lime twist here. If you wanted to add another size circle. Add another one over here. Don't be afraid of letting those colours all blend together. And I want to add a bigger circle. Now I think I'm going to be almost done with this. If I get too much more, I think I'm going to be getting overdone, and I'll end up with a murky mess. Don't know whether I should be adding something down into there or not. Or even... Okay. Now, I'm not quite sure whether this is balanced or not. I'm a little bit worried that if I add more, I'm going to be adding too much. But then I'm also a little bit worried that I've got sort of a lot of pink here, but nothing up here. But then I've also got like a bit of a white space down there. White space, though, can be good. I don't want to go over the top too much. So what do you think? I'm going to let you guys... Should I add another circle in there or not? Don't add any more. I'm glad you like this technique, Deborah. It's fun. It's letting your imagination go. No, leave that as is. Okay, let's leave that as is. Now, of course, with something like this, once you've done a piece like this, which is all over, you can cut that down and put, use some of the shapes and cut it down into shapes. Just trying to think which one I've got here. You could cut a tag into that. You could use your deckled rectangles. I'm thinking of one in particular at the moment, and it's the one I can't find. Probably the nested essential dyes is the one I'm thinking. Not that I'm going to cut this down, but just sort of give you some ideas, because you're just really creating a background. If you did it all in blue bubbles, you could put flowers on top. You could do all sorts of different things. I just want to keep this quite simple. But, I mean, you could cut that down into pieces like using a shape like that and have different colours in it. It's really up to you what you want to do with something like this. So, you could cut a large tag and choose which portion of this you want to use in a tag. It could be anything, but I'm going to keep this actually quite simple. And because I've already cut this down to the size that I want it. And let me just pop these away. But it's really individual choice how far you want to take this. So let me just remove this mat. Keep that. And that's going to roll this up and pop it to one side. We could add some splatters to that if you wanted to add some splatters. By just let's just have a look at one of these. I like to test things before I do them so I can just sort of see, okay, what's this could look like. It could actually look quite cute. We might just give that a go. We'll put some splatters on there just to give that a little bit more interest. I might add a little bit of blue splatters. I'm always aware when I do this sort of thing that I don't want to damage the nib of my hen. That's the and maybe just a little bit of green, not too much. Just so then we've got a little bit of everything in this. So that's what I've created so far. Now I've cut out two bases. Not quite sure which one I want to use or whether we even use both. So you've got, I take that away. We've got that card base. Or we've got that. Or even I can do that on that. You're a pink girl, Debbie. And the other one, which is the lemon lime twist, which this piece here is a bit too small, so I have to cut a piece. Or we can go that. Okay, so which one are we going to use for our card base? Are we going to use which one of those three colours? Pink. Debbie says pink. Are we going to make the card base in pink or matte it in pink? Which one? Pink, says Joan. Deb says Berry Burst, which is the pink. So far, pink is winning. Okay, then. So let me just take those out of the road. So we've got that. We're going to put that piece on top. Now, do we want to put a mat underneath that? And again, what colour mat would you want? So again, we could do, remember this is going to get cut down, so we could do the lemon lime twist and the berry burst. Debbie says lemon lime twist. Okay, let me have a look at what I've got here in this piece here. This piece will be a better size. So I said before I cut this at 8.3 by 12.7. So I'm going to cut this at 13 by, so I just want to make it 3 mil bigger. So 13 by 8.6. Okay, so that's that so far. What I thought I might do, so I'm going to adhere those two together. And I'm going to use my multi-purpose glue for this because the I find that the watercolor paper is so thick that it needs a good bond with the paper underneath. Really good. Okay, so that's going to go onto there and onto there. Now I've still got these sitting on my desk. These are So Sincere, which is the new sentiments in the Mini Catalogue. And I just thought I would use Just Love Spending Time With You, maybe. It's got a little bit more definition to it. Now, what am I going to pop that onto? We could heat emboss this in the white. Don't think I want to put it onto Lemon Lime Twist. I certainly don't want to put it onto Berry Burst because there's a lot of Berry Burst in there. We could stamp it onto the white, but then the white is different. It's a different sort of white in the watercolor paper, so it could clash a little bit. We could do it on some black and use white embossing powder. So I've just got some black here. And white embossing powder. Is that going to be too strong on that though? It is going to be quite bold. Okay, folks, I need your opinion. You think use the blue? That could be interesting. Yep, that would work actually. because then it's sticking within that theme. Let me just see if I've got some smaller pieces. And I haven't mounted these as yet, but that's okay. I won't. So we need some Versamark. Some white embossing powder on there. Just need a little brush there just to brush that off. That's looking good. Now, let me get this piece of paper underneath my work area there, and need to okay. So once that embossing powder goes from matte to white, glossy white, it's done. Reconnect my camera before it decides it doesn't want to work, and you've lost me. Okay, so we can cut this out in a circle. So where are these? Are the new deckled circles, and you've got quite a few different circle sizes in this to use. And that one there would work perfectly. And I think the deckled one would look good because even though we've used like a my template was cut with a straight edge circle, the deckled one I think would give, just because we've got watercoloured edges and they're not even, the deckled one will follow nicely with that. You're going to give this a go, Lorraine? Good. Let me know how you go. It's definitely fun. I've been watching I don't even know who it is. It's not Stamping Up, but they did the same sort of thing. And I actually had a bit of a play this morning, and I don't know whether it's the one of my play pieces has fallen on the floor. So it's probably that piece. But I did it on watercolor paper with red ink, with real red. And the little video that I've seen, they did it with real red and then did a line above it and made it into a bauble. So I thought it looked quite cute. I think that sort of started going around last Christmas. So I think you can have a lot of fun with this technique. And I'm in my usual mess. I've got stuff everywhere here. Oh, dear. Okay. So that, I think, is going to go somewhere about there. But I'm going to put some baker's twine because I think it does need a little bit of added interest. Gee, I should have ordered some more baker's twine this morning too. Running out of everything by the looks of it. And I'm just going to wrap that around 3 times. Let's see if I can make this into a bow. Don't want a real big bow, but I've left myself only a little bit of twine here, so it's fiddly. Oops. Can't quite get that tail in. What I might do, myself a little bit more length there. Sometimes you need a third hand. Come through. Got it. Okay, let's see. Just doesn't want to sit real nice there at the moment. That's okay. We'll get it to sit nice. Don't like it when my bows twist on me. I'll trim that down in a minute. It's just okay. That is just going to have to do. It's not. Okay, I'm going to cheat on this. Just not quite happy with that. I am going to do a cheats way of doing it. So I've just wrapped that around there 3 times, and I've got a little bit of length there that I've just cut off, and I'm going to tie a knot. Now, this still could not work, but we're going to give it a go. And I am much happier with that, even though my bow is just that little bit. Oh, that'll do. It's a bow. It's a bow. It's a bow. And let's grab some dimensionals. You haven't mastered bows yet? Yeah, I should pull out my reverse tweezers. They're somewhere around here. I've got a couple of pairs around here somewhere. Got into my cupboard this morning and pulled out my dimensionals. I'm just going to pop 2 on here so it just goes with the baker's twine either side. Just like that. We put things away as we go. We might not be in such a mess. Okay. We might add a few more. So I know what we could add instead of that, which might be a lot better. I've got some strips of these. This is the foam adhesive sheets, and I probably don't use them enough, and I've got a whole stack here. Let's just pop this piece on first. Oh, that's a little bit close to the edge, but you're not going to see it. So I just want that watercolor paper to have good, be adhered well. Now, let's see if we can get this nice and straight. That's why I like using multi-purpose glue, is because you can move things around a little bit and you got slide, whereas this, I've only got one chance. And that's not too bad. Okay, there's our card. So all really left to do on this card is to pop a piece in there that you can write on, write your sentiment, and there's a really fun card. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Now, I did mention before the let me grab one of these pieces that I saw this done with where you used, and I've got a red here, and if I can find my template, I can't find my template. As I said, I'm always in a mess. And because the template's clear, isn't it? So you can't necessarily see it straight up. And it's probably going to be underneath. Right there. I think I found it. There we go. So I saw them do like a Christmas decoration. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use my fine tip here, because this is the old one. Just going to draw around that once with the fine tip. And I'm going to see if I can very carefully, because this ink will go, because it's red. Red seems to be a colour that goes a long way. Whoops, and I'm not being real good at colouring this in. This is using the brush nib. But they did that, and then bringing in you can see how that will blend quite quickly, being a red. And this is where the broader tip one could come in handy. So you're just keeping in, whereas before I was going around like letting it spread outwards. This one here, sort of, I'm keeping it all within that circle. And just sort of even bringing you'd even bring this so that's slightly darker. Just sort of play a little bit, let that colour pool. Now, probably if you're going to do this for like a Christmas bauble, you could do a couple of them or use a bigger circle template. But I just want to they did something like that. Then with, see if I can find my little ruler rather than pulling in my big one. Of course, you'd probably let that dry a bit more than what I've done. Or you'd use black. Let's see if we can use a black. Just blow a little bit of that ink off. I'm not laying the ruler right on top. I've just got it slightly at an angle. There's now got a line there. Because you'd wait for that to dry. But there you've got a Christmas bauble. So you could do that as a much bigger one on a card, or do a couple of them. Exactly the same technique is we've just used to create that, but just using one. So there's something else that you could do with this, using this technique. But using red, these colours here, like your berry burst, you can see there the colour is actually quite strong. So any colours that are really strong, like berry burst, real red, any of really your red colours, and even your melamamba and so forth, you're going to get a lot of strength in the colour. And even though you've just used a little bit of it, it'll go a long way. So have fun with this technique. Tag me in what you've done, because I'd love to see what you've done using it. But play. Get yourself some cheap watercolour paper and just play and just see how you go before you go ahead and work on the good stuff. But enjoy and play and have a lot of fun. So have a lovely week. Have a lovely weekend. If you're here in windy Australia at the moment, stay warm, stay dry, keep out of the wind. I'm not going anywhere. I'm just going to, I've got lots of sewing to do, so I've got to get in and get that done this afternoon. So I'll be cleaning up my desk and then getting stuck into that. So have a lovely day. Thank you very much for joining me. I do appreciate you taking the time and joining me in this and helping me create my card. Take care. Have a great weekend. Bye for now.